Right, everyone, the new week is here, and it's the week we have all been waiting for. It's the one when Celtic are crowned champions of Scotland again. There's a fair bit to look forward to over the next 6 days or so. Big party on Saturday. At this point, I was going to try and work in a joke about Eurovision Song Contest taking place on Saturday night and that being the big party I was referring to. But you're not in the mood for jokes, are you? Business faces only here at 67 Hale Hales. We go for a huge week. Today on the channel, we've got some of the latest news coming out of Celtic. We've got chat about Giakoumakis, about Maida, Champions League, revenue, and much, much more, including our big plans for what's to come. Right, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. The bad news is that this is the final week of the season when we're all finished and done with Motherwell on Saturday. Season 21-22 will be over and we won't see Celtic back in action for, I think, round about 8 weeks until pre-season starts next season. The good news is I've been promoted. You're still thinking of the bad news, aren't you? The actual good news is that we've got 2 Celtic matches this week for the first time since the start of March when we played St Mirren and Livingston in the same week. We have a midweek Celtic match and a weekend Celtic match to get all wired into, so it's wonderful. It's all about Tannadice on Wednesday evening. We have a 6-point gap now at the top of the Premiership with 2 matches to go, meaning that 1 more point will secure our 52nd league title and our 16th of the 21st century. Of course, that superior goal difference that we enjoy there means that even if we lose our final 2 matches, we will still be champions. But as Ange would say, let's do this in style, mate. I'm looking forward to it. We'll have our big preview ahead of Tannadice tomorrow on the channel. We're going to have David and Scott joining me, getting Scott's memories from winning the league back at Tannadice in 2008. So that should be fun. And obviously previewing the game tomorrow as well on the channel. So join us for that. Now, this title success may not have been possible were it not for Daizen Maida. He's not a contender for Player of the Year. Neither should he be, if we're being honest. But what a boost he and the rest of the January signings gave us this season when we badly needed it at that point in the campaign. I think it took people a while to work out what kind of player Maida was. And I think when people realised that he wasn't Kyogo, he wasn't Reo Hatate, he wasn't Giakoumakis, he was a very different player, then I think life got a lot easier for him. As usual with any Celtic signing, the criticism was pretty instant with Maida, but he's fairly shut people up. Saturday was his 8th goal for Celtic. He's scored in every competition he's played in for the club so far. He's assisted a couple of goals too, including last week against Rangers, of course. Overall, he has a goal contribution every 152 minutes, which is pretty impressive for a new signing. But it's everything else he brings to Celtic as well. It's his energy, it's his intensity, it's just his application and just his mentality, I guess, as well, that has brought so much to Celtic. I mean, I thought he was a huge part of why we won at Ibrox, which was, let's face it, the defining match this season. Winning at Ibrox was probably the result that won us the league, if we're honest. He was also big in our win at Livingston, which was an equally, maybe not equally, sorry, but a huge win for us as well at that point in the season. And he's going to be sticking around for next season as well. Of course, we already knew this. We know that when we signed him, that it was a loan deal with an obligation for Celtic to make it permanent. But it's absolutely been rubber stamped now, and Maida's been chatting about next season already. He's quoted as saying, "I am happy here, but I am looking forward to resting. I have been playing since the beginning of last season in Japan. I will have to take enough rest to be ready to go again next season. I want to be at my best next season." So is this Daizen saying that he's fatigued right now? Because if this is a fatigued Daizen Maida we're witnessing, then I don't hold out much hope for the rest of Scottish football dealing with a fully fit one next season. 1.6 million is the fee that's been spoken about, by the way, which, just like so many of Celtic's deals we've done this season, is just an absolute bargain. Joe Hart, Matt O'Reilly, Reo Hatate, so many of our signings this season have been great business from the club, and it's a huge sea change from what we saw in previous seasons with 5 million being spent on let's just say, players who didn't quite cut it at the club. So delighted to have Maida around. Absolutely love him. Another player that I absolutely love is Georgios Giacomakis. I've gone on record previously in saying that he's my favourite Celtic player right now. I just absolutely love the guy. I think us kind of handsome, lanky, wonderful guys just have to have each other's backs, and I've certainly got Giacomakis' back. He's just a terrific player, and we saw that again on Saturday when he came on and the way he finished that goal. And I just think it's really interesting looking forward that when Ange only plays one striker, how does he find a way to get both Kyogo and Giacomakis in the team? Maybe it's not a major problem because we're going to be playing so many games next season, but both of those guys are just great players, and it seems a shame that one of them can't start every single match. Now, arguably the greatest day Giacomakis has had at Celtic so far this season was the hat-trick that he scored against Dundee back in February that got us a really crucial 3-2 win. I seem to remember Rangers dropping points earlier in that day, and that was the goal or the goals that put us 3 points clear at the top of the league, and it was huge. After that game, he certainly wound up plenty of people, definitely not me. I definitely didn't comment on it the following day with his post-match comments. Let's just remind ourselves of what Giacomakis said, because let's just say these comments have aged brilliantly. Now, he said, "I think that we will win the championship. It's something that we really want for the club and for the fans. First and foremost, we have a very strong squad. Every single player can be in the first 11 and make a difference to the team. I think we work a lot. We work hard every day at the training centre and in games. I think with this hard work, we can achieve many things. The squad is really good. I think it's the best in the league. I think we're a well-prepared team for every single game and have a very good plan. We stay committed to the plan. I think we are better in every single part of the team." Well, I think it's hard to argue with Nostramakis. That's not my patter, by the way. I saw that online. He's another player who's just come big for the club when it's really mattered. It's weird because you look around the Celtic squad and we've not really carried many passengers this season. Certainly players who have played a significant number of matches. They've all contributed at key moments in the season. Obviously, Gigi, Jota, Maida, Kyogo have all scored lots and lots of goals, lots and lots of big goals as well, and assisted them. Other players, Tom Rogic has contributed a lot, but you can pick out, specific matches when he really influenced them. Rogic at Ibrox, Abada at home to Dundee United with that big goal, James Forrest even in the cup semi-final against St Johnstone, Rayo Hatate in the 3-0 win over Rangers, Matt O'Reilly on Sunday, David Turnbull at Tannadice. You could go through basically everyone in this Celtic squad, and that's just the attackers I've picked out, by the way. And they're all deserving of a winner's medal this season, with the definite exception of... Now we've cleared that up and I've got that off my chest, let's get into a question we got from someone yesterday. The question came in from Jimmy Johnson. It is confusing as to how much cash Celtic will get from being in the Champions League. If Rangers win the Seville final, what will each of Celtic and Rangers get? Alternatively, if Rangers lose, what will each get? Now, I'm going to do this fairly briefly. I may revisit this in the coming weeks when the content dries up a little bit and redo this Champions League stuff. Celtic will net a guaranteed €15.6 million for playing in the group stage of the Champions League next season. The key word there is guaranteed. That's even if we lose every single match. That amount won't be affected if Rangers are in the group stage either. Every single club in the group stage gets €15.6 million. So Celtic will, of course, be no different. Our TV money is the part that would be affected and shared with Rangers if they're in the group stage, but this isn't a huge deal at all. The TV money is actually only worth around about €6.8 million at the moment to a Scottish club. Without confusing you loads, UEFA have kind of changed how they give teams out money, and they've introduced this new coefficient system that we'll speak about in a minute or two. But it means that they've had to take money away from the TV amounts. I think the last time we played in the Champions League, we got around about £15 million worth of TV money. Nowadays, you're looking at about £6 million. The Scottish clubs still only get 10% of the overall British share. And if Rangers are in there as well, it would be 5% to us and 5% to Rangers. That 10% doesn't change at all. So we'd be looking at €6.8 million if it's only us in the group stage in terms of TV money. If Rangers are there, then that would be halved, which would obviously be 3.4 million. So the answer to your question right away is that if Rangers are in the group stage of the Champions League, it'll cost Celtic around about €3.4 million, which is nothing really, all things considered. Obviously, the whole story is a little bit more complicated in that, and it would be more about what they would gain from being in the group stage rather than what we would lose. The final part of how UEFA make payment is to do with coefficients. What they do is they have a pot and they divvy it up in terms of how high teams' coefficients are. So the number one team out of the 32 teams in the group stage gets €36.4 million, while the bottom team gets just €1.1 million. Obviously, Celtic would be nearer the bottom than the top, but it is a 10-year coefficient that UEFA use for this part rather than the 5 years they use for all their other stuff, meaning that Celtic would probably get around about 8 or 9, maybe even €10 million in terms of the coefficient. So Rangers in there would cost us around about €3 million, just over €3 million. That's the answer to your question, but it's far more complicated than that, of course. So it's a big week for Celtic. We can secure the title, our Champions League place on Wednesday night if we get a draw or win against Dundee United. We could also secure a big thing on the channel because you may have noticed that we're not a million miles away from getting to 30,000 subscribers. We've still got a little bit of work to do, but it would be fitting if we could do it in the final week of the season. When we started this season, we were away back on 16.2k. So if we're able to get to 30k by the end of the season, it would just cap off what has been an amazing campaign. There's still actually more of you watching the channel who aren't subscribed to us than those who are. So if you are watching this and you're just thinking, they're all right, those guys, or maybe mainly me, I'm all right, even if I'm the only one you like, give us a wee sub, get us to 30k. Remember, we're giving away mugs, we're giving away a t-shirt, which is going to be amazing at the end of the season as well. So it would just be the perfect way to cap off the campaign. So that's all I'm going to say. You know what to do now. We're back tomorrow when I'll be joined by Scott and David. Speak to you then.